Hi guys, James here from Studio Innate, and thank you very much for taking the time to check out this new vintage reclaimed hoodie mockup. So once you've opened up the file, the first thing you'll see is this black screen. So this is like a little manual overview. So it's going to give you an idea of what you can do with this mockup, but I'm going to go into a lot more depth now to show you what you can do with it. So you can hide this when you open up the file by clicking the eye, and if you need to refer back to it, just switch it back on. So you'll notice that you've got layers marked in green. So if they're marked in green, they're smart objects, and that means you can double click the thumbnail to go into there and drop your artwork in. So for example, if we were to go into the right sleeve, we could then drop in some artwork. So for this, for example, I'm going to go to the new origami clone vector pack. So this is also available on the store. If it's something that you like, then you can head over and check that out. So we can then go back to our design file and then we can paste something in. So I like to work as shape layers just because it's kind of similar to vectors, and you can just scale things up and down without it pixelating. If we close this down by clicking the close icon and then we hit save, that's going to then update the smart object file. Now you'll see that these green vibrant colors aren't coming through so strong. So that's intentional, because in here we've got this vintage wash look. So you can then go down to these preferences. You've got the sub hoodie section, and then we've got vintage wash, and you can have that on or off. So you just turn that off or turn that on, and then you can see that when it's turned off, you get that real vibrancy coming through. If you wanted to increase that just a bit, you could then just switch just one of them off, and then you just get a little bit of that stone wash, but not the whole whack. So we could leave it as one off, for example, just we've got a bit of that vibrancy coming through, but it still has that old vintage look. Now, I wouldn't worry about lighting, that's just for all the textures and everything that's going on. Prints, again, don't worry about that. These are all accessible for you here on the green top layers. And then we get down to the hoodie color. So this is where you can double click this to go into it, and you can use the slider to change the color to anything you like. And then we've got the shadows underneath. Again, you can have that on or off. Totally depends on what you're after. And then if you wanted to, you can then close this whole folder down, and then you can right click on that, and then you can go to export as PNG. Now for you, for example, if you don't have export as PNG, all you need to do is go to File and then go to Export and then Export Preferences, and then you can change this from PNG to JPEG or JPEG to PNG, whatever works for you. And then if we go down to the background, again, you can see these are marked in yellow, so it means that we can turn them on or off or adjust them. So we could have the background texture completely switched off, and then we could go to the background color and we can change that to anything we like as well. So when you go into the smart objects, for example, so we've got the big chest area. So if we were to go into that, you can see that there's a little toggle here to turn the background guide on. So I'd recommend switching that off before you save it. This is just a guide for you. So for example, you might prefer to design while you're in this layer. So sometimes I quite like to do that if I'm feeling lazy and I haven't designed it in Illustrator or anything. You know, it's just down to your preference really. So you can switch that on and off. Close that to save the smart object, and everything updates as required. Hopefully that gives you a good overview of what you can do with this. Any questions, we're always there for support and feedback. So thank you very much.